Oh, this one. Okay.
All right.
There's a new one. A new one. Here we go. The biggest gaming fraud in history. Elon Musk twin reacts.
Obviously, the very big story lately. You've probably all...
Well, this is a reaction to a reaction. Should we just go look at the main original video? Probably. Yeah, let's go to the original video here. Let me put the volume for the game down real quick. All right, let's do it.
All right. Obviously, the very big story lately, you've probably all seen the headlines, is how Elon Musk might be faking his Path of Exile 2 gameplay. If we're being completely honest here, he's obviously faking it. But with every single major...
No, yeah, he's obviously faking it. Even my girlfriend and daughter, when they watched the video, were like, wait, that's pretty clear.
Outlet and commentator giving their opinions, I wanted to weigh in myself and see if I can't do a sort of much more comprehensive top-down overview, because I think a lot of people are fixating on individual aspects of the story without looking at the broader picture. Obviously, the title is a little bit extreme, I'll admit that, but what exactly should
Upper
you call
Echelon
it when the
that
world's
did the
richest
video,
businessman who's supposedly going to send the human race to Mars with his various companies also happens to have the incoming president's overwhelming favor as he gets appointed to official positions in government reform for the most powerful nation on Earth?
And I mean, like, this is a fair... Like, I'm an Elon Musk fan, right? And I think, by and large, like, this would not be a big deal, I think, if it didn't feel like a betrayal as an actual gamer, right? And then it brings into question, what else is he lying about, right? And so there's a certain amount of trust. Like if you're willing to, and it's not even lie because he admitted it, right? But to kind of like, I guess it's like taking credit for something you didn't do, which I've heard thrown at Musk a lot of times. And before I'd be like, meh, whatever. People are going to hate on other successful people, and I get it. But now that he is literally doing that and in such a clear manner, it's like, okay, well, maybe I was wrong.
What exactly do you call it when that man
is space
is
even real?
faking his...
I mean, fair.
own prominence in popular video games, claiming to be either one of the best or the actual top speedrunner in Diablo 4, one of the top 10 global players in Path of Exile 2, hardcore Path of Exile 2 at that, and systematically misrepresenting himself as better and more talented than he really is, as far back as the 1990s. I call that pathetic. Here's the thing, to properly explain just how sad this whole saga actually is, we need to start at the very, very beginning, and we need to cover a number of different games because the most recent accusations of faking his Path of Exile 2 progress...
I will say this, though. What I have learned in the content creator space, and this is kind of a sad realization, the more honest you are, the more people do seem to dislike you. Like, admitting mistakes only reinforces negative opinions and only makes other people like you less. And then the ones that, it's like Asmund says, like, he always says, like, the way you do it is you don't apologize and you just get back on the horse and you keep making content.
By using an account that someone...
which I failed at doing multiple times, and that's probably why there's that huge subscriber delta, right?
else has progressed for him, despite those accusations being the most immediate and the most damning by far. The most recent accusations from Path of Exile 2, they don't actually tell the full story, not by a long shot. To really get inside the mind of Elon Musk, supposed master of gaming, business genius, political revolutionary, tech mogul, and internet troll,
you're a blind Musk defender.
Quake.
I don't know if I was a blind one,
2, but as the controversy picked up
but I
steam,
definitely didn't think
clips began surfacing rapidly.
it was all warranted,
where Elon
right?
Musk had said things like this.
It's not a super long-term career being a
The only reason you watch me is because you seem to be the most honest and dishonest space. Well, and that's the thing too. Like in crypto, it's extremely bad. It's yucky. I mean, it is to the point to where I get demoralized on some aspects of it. It's a weird space where things that, you know, people don't fully understand crypto. And because of that, they'll see things like the Trump token and call that, a fraud. But if, a creator is making a video about a coin that he was paid to make, like, that's perfectly fine. Like, it's just like, there's not a whole lot of logic behind it, right? To where, like, everybody's lines are drawn differently ethically across the whole board, right? What I try to do, though, is if I make a mistake, I admit it and I just put it out there, right? And then I just keep making content. And that's just what I'm going to continue to do. I will wait for the ads to end for Sasquatch. I don't know how. I need to figure out how to control those. I think you can turn it on manual, but then I have to remember to hit play on them. There was like some trick around it on Twitch. All right, you're back.
With Quake. So I actually made money in the first paid tournament in the US.
Oh.
And we came second. We would have come first, except I was the second best guy on the team. Best guy on the team's computer crashed halfway through the game, so we came second in the end. But I put ridiculous amounts of time into Quake.
That's interesting to me.
So that is, have you guys ever noticed, like, when people lie, it's always like, it's never the best. It's always like second or third or something that's harder to verify. This is a tell I've noticed with a lot of individuals, right? If they're, and like, I think I've even done it, like when you get into embellishing, right? Like I raced motocross. And when I was younger, I wanted people to like me more. So, I would say things like, yeah, I did Pro-Am. That I didn't do Pro-Am. I just raced in Nationals, right? But Nationals is just as respectable. I don't know why I had that kind of feeling of I need to say this to make people think I'm better and that's the thing that makes this whole thing confusing in the first place. Well, that's something I was doing when I was in my 20s, so judge lest not ye be judged sort of thing. And, I gotta definitely admit that, and I think all of us as humans have done similar things, it's just on the profile at which you do these things that matters, right? I think, and how late into life you stop doing those things, right? And so I guess that's my whole point. Like I've done this before, I could just say, hey, I qualified for Loretta's and Ponca's one year. I got 7th at Ponca. I got a DNF at Loretta. And those, those aren't bad things. Like that's pretty cool that I was able to do that. So why embellish?
Not just because I used to personally know someone who was an early professional Quake player, but also
tell
because
people you were glad in WoW. What's a glad?
The only reason that he didn't win the first ever cash prize Quake tournament was because a player on his team.
If you lie, you want to be the best. Yeah, but good liars that have been doing it a long time, they know that the 2nd, 3rd, 4th place, that sort of thing, that's a harder thing to verify, right? Second's pretty easy. I think if you're going to do it, you got to go out of the top 4 or top 3, like 4th, 5th, 6th. Yeah, something like that. It's hard to verify, and people aren't going to dig back to the 90s to some Quake championship, right? I mean, the other thing, though, is like, it is kind of funny because when he was saying that, I do remember on Rogan when he said it, I was kind of like, that's weird. I go to QuakeCon all the time. 1, I've never seen Musk there. 2, that's where all of the Quake champions or all the Quake championships were played at. And every year you go, they have like the list of all the people that have been champions in Quake over the entire run of QuakeCon. So then it comes down to like, oh wait, hold on. Like I've never seen Elon Musk's name. I don't know what his gamer tag or handle would be though. And I feel like if Musk was there in the 90s doing that, somebody would have known, right? At some point and put him like they would brag about it at QuakeCon, I would think.
He was the second best on the team, and they
Oh,
would have
Gladiator.
won,
Got
not for
okay.
this unfortunate
Top 0.1% PvP.
That's pretty
I was terrible at PvP and WoW.
impressive. Just to underscore that point, here's a clip on Lex Friedman where Elon Musk reiterates that he was maybe one of the best Quake players in the world.
Yeah, I'm pretty, I really am 52, so my...
Like, I think I queued up for arenas and any, was the battlegrounds, like a handful of times just to get the achievements. That's the only reason I would ever do it.
Reflex is not what they used to be, but I have a lifetime of playing video games. At one point I was, maybe one of the best Quake players in the world. I actually won money in what I think was the first paid esports tournament in the US.
Well, just to provide a little bit more context now, the early Quake scene, at least from a tournament perspective, is very difficult to analyze. There's not a whole lot of documentation about whatever this team event might have been.
Exactly.
And sure, you can find fragments of testimony here and there from anonymous accounts on various gaming forums actually corroborating that Elon Musk was part of a runner-up team in some sort of early event. But the thing I want to focus on is...
So he was a runner-up team. They're able to verify that on, like, Internet Archives?
His repeated claim that he was one of the best Quake players in the world.
Yeah,
Let's talk about that. As much as the very early Quake tournament scene is incomplete in its documentation, other parts of Quake history are carved in stone. And
you know what I'm going to say? I don't think this is such a big deal. Specifically the Quake part. And I'll listen to more of what he has to say, but like, stick with me here. If we're going to, if one, it's a hard thing to verify, but two, like I said, people embellish. So at least he was doing it and that's verifiable. And he did play in a tournament. And like I said, I would embellish in the same ways. So I don't know. I think it's an embellishment. And I think, obviously, not good, but not the worst thing in the world at all.
One of those indisputably historic moments was a tournament called Red...
I think it's a lot... Here's the thing. I think it's a lot less bad than account sharing in Path of Exile 2.
Annihilation, where the grand prize was a brand new red Ferrari. This is like video game bedrock history back in the day, where 1,900 initial contestants slowly chipped away to reveal the final winner, Dennis Fong, aka Thresh, who would be immortalized as, quote, the world's first professional gamer, which is a hell of a title. Here's where it gets funny, though. I couldn't find any evidence whatsoever that Elon Musk competed during Red Annihilation, which was very clearly the pinnacle Quake esports event of the time period, for anyone even remotely capable of having a shot at it. But going further, during an interview with DJ Wheat, former CEO of Twitch, in 2020, Dennis Fong, aka Thresh, the first ever widely recognized professional Quake player, had this to say at roughly 33 minutes in, specifically mentioning Elon Musk by name.
Well, actually, I mean, it was funny. Like Elon Musk, he's known as a huge gamer. We used to play in the same Quake server. Yeah. Almost every day, I'd see him on. He'd be playing as Zip2 was his username.
Okay, so Zip2 is his username, so we know what that is. And Thresh is saying that they used to play together.
And a really good buddy of mine, he was okay.
Hold on, Dennis. Hold on. Was Elon Musk any good?
He was okay. I mean,
you could be honest.
He wasn't very good. But
okay, he wasn't very good. I don't know if any of y'all have played Quake, even in like local tournaments or something, but like a very base movement skill that you have to have with circle strafing is extremely difficult to do. And along with the high Twitch reactions, it's probably the hardest competitive shooter, at least that I have ever played. And I'm talking about, I played a lot of Counter-Strike, and one of the reasons you would kind of play Counter-Strike almost, to be completely honest, is it was more accessible than Quake. Like Quake was and still is really the sweats of the sweats in FPS. And you have to be on the entire time.
Sure.
He's
Right?
still an OG.
I don't know about you, but that doesn't really sound like the
Who
type
gives
of
a shit
nervous-
about if Elon was a great or average gamer? Fact is, he's made more money than all the ancestors and current people that hate him. So, are you equating economic wealth to what makes you an overall good human being? I mean, I don't know if I agree with that.
laughter that you would get when talking about someone who really is one of the best players in the world. That sounds like the type of chuckle you
You categorize Elon into a group of people I call idea generators. They create a lot of random ideas but don't have a skill set to create the ideas. They're hard to nail down because they are on to the next thing before resolving the previous idea. Wouldn't that be... I think that's antithetical to what we see, though. I think this is my perspective. It seems like Musk is the opposite of that. It appears to me Musk comes in on a great idea and brings it into fruition. I mean, that's what happened with Tesla.
give when you know that the player's dog shit, but they're also the richest person on the planet, and you don't really want to piss them off or just outright insult them. So you keep saying, he was okay, before finally laughing and admitting, no, he was not very good. Contrary to the public persona that Elon Musk puts forward now with regards to his gaming accolades, no. No, he was not one of the best Quake players in the world, not even close. But at least he did play the game, which is something, and he logged hours while getting to know the culture. So in that sense, yes, he is a gamer, and I do kind of respect him for it. At least, I would have. Jumping forward through time, we get to our next example of Elon the Gamer, which is Elden Ring. And I have to preface things right now. This is where I genuinely sort of respected him. Of all the information I looked at while making this video, Elden Ring is where I looked at the guy and thought, I don't know, yeah, that's maybe kind of relatable. He's just a guy having fun, appreciating video games, and that's pretty cool. Sadly, that feeling was extremely short-lived, but here's what happened. In 2022, Elon Musk replied to someone on Twitter, someone who said that they were struggling with Mage while playing Elden Ring, which is arguably one of the best games ever released at this point, at least in my view, and that they would appreciate his wisdom, with big air quotes around the word wisdom there. Yeah, he responded by giving a few tips and posting a screenshot of the build that he uses, which seemed, without mincing words here, like total garbage. But at the very least, it felt like a legitimate thing that he probably came up with himself. The stats were completely botched, the choice of equipment was ridiculously bad, and even from the perspective of someone...
I mean, that's probably what my Elden Ring build looks like. I'm not gonna lie. We need to go look. Should we install Elden Ring and see what my build looks like right now? I'm curious how I built mine because I don't look up. I don't look up guides
who isn't an expert
until I'm
Dark
like
Souls or
trying to
prerequisite
do
from
something
software
crazy.
games before Elden Ring. The way he built the character was comedic. 2 shields in the same hand at the same time, also they're both physical, while fat rolling, which is probably the worst way that you could ever progress through a Souls-like because you decrease your iframes, which is something even a novice player would immediately realize.
Okay, so I don't do that. I don't fat roll. I did fat roll in Dark Souls 2 when I first played it.
It's somehow leveled to over 100.
And then somebody in chat was like, bro. And I was like, oh, that's what does that.
While at the same time having an item that gives him the strength required to use Moonveil, which is a broken weapon when the game first came out, but choosing to never put the few points required directly into strength, instead focusing completely on intelligence for some reason, which is one of the most dysfunctional ways that you could build a mage character. It's like a child that doesn't have any actual high-level gaming experience. You're not mad at them, obviously. At least they're having fun. You can't be mad at them. But you look at it and you're like, what the fuck were you thinking? Still, that was pretty obviously something that he put together himself, because no one with any authoritative knowledge whatsoever of anything to do with the game would ever advise him to do that, which makes me, at the very least, respect him as an actual player. Yeah, he's supposed to be a genius, and no, this was not the way that a genius builds an Elden.
What if we find out that this really is the genius way to build an Elden Ring character and everybody starts doing it?
Ring character. But hey, at least he's actually playing. I'm not kidding when I say this. Elon's build became a widespread meme. He got clowned on for this, with major publications even just roasting him for an entire article, and creators doing challenge runs where they beat the harder bosses in the game with this shitty setup. And I have to wonder, like kind of genuinely wonder, if him getting laughed at so much for so long about how bad his character build was is the reason he did what he did more recently with Diablo 4 and Path of Exile. I don't know, but I think it's a genuine possibility. Regardless, jumping ahead again, we arrive at Elon's appearance on Joe Rogan in late 2024. It starts right away with this right here.
So are you in the top 20 in the world or
Yeah.
top 20? Wow, in Diablo.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell everybody your handle? No, don't tell them. Don't tell them. It's not worth it.
Well, they actually listed me with my actual name in the list.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, okay.
Well, it lists you you can turn that on or off for those of you that don't know. I believe at least in BattleNet, the way it's been for a long time is that you can say reveal your real name or turn that off. I highly recommend turning that off, by the way, just from a cybersecurity perspective. If you're a streamer or whatever it may be, right?
Okay, that's awesome. And then again, a few seconds later, he says this.
If you think about like StarCraft or any game like Quake, any game where a lot of people are playing, to rise to the top, you have to be exceptional, period, as a human being.
Yeah.
There has to be something exceptional about you.
Yeah. Actually, for mention Quake, way back in the day, I was one of the world's best Quake players.
I know we talked about this.
Yeah.
No, you weren't, but that's okay because maybe he's actually talented when it comes to Diablo. This is where I have to be a little bit technical because right around the same time, as in a couple of days before.
So I haven't got caught up on this on the Diablo section. One, I wasn't caught up on the Quake side of things, but like I said, it sounds more of like an embellishment. It's something I would have done when I was younger, so I'm not going to judge on it. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
For that, actually, Elon was posting Diablo.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that, Gone. When BattleNet tried to force real names for a while. They've always tried to do things they shouldn't do, like real money auction houses.
For speedruns on his alternate Twitter account with just a hilarious name. Some of them dropping below 3 minutes for a certain dungeon called The Pit. And this is kind of maybe impressive. I'll try to keep it as simple as possible, but basically he was doing content speedruns with progressively faster times, then stating that he was top 20 in the world on Joe Rogan, after which, on November 20th, to be precise, a few weeks later, he posted this and said, quote, "So many life lessons to be learned from speedrunning video games on max difficulty. Teaches you to see the Matrix rather than simply exist in the Matrix. Diablo tier 150 finished in under 2 minutes." End quote. Here's the part that matters. All of these rankings are based on a website called Helltides. And even right now, Elon's previous 2 minute and 45-second clear time is listed at rank 55. That's impressive, right? Especially when the verbiage around all of it is, he's top 20 in the world at this game. But after he posted a sub 2 minute speedrun, it got even worse. There were articles all over the place about him now being the #1 Diablo 4 player in the world on planet Earth.
55 sounds good to
But
me. What are we doing here?
Full picture. Contrary to what it sounds like, Diablo 4 doesn't have rankings like that. There's no official leaderboards in the sense of speedrunning any content. And the website that Elon was using is actually a community-managed self-submission kind of leaderboard. In addition, it turned out that during the specific window of time where he did this speedrun, Diablo 4 had a glitch. Spiritborn, the class that he and every single other speedrunner is using because of how strong it is, was able to glitch the game and achieve quintillions of damage per second. I'm not exaggerating, by the way. literally quintillions, as in billion, trillion, quadrillion, quintillion, numbers so big that the human mind stops really comprehending them, which let the character instantly delete every single enemy they would ever hit. Now, the clip he made doesn't show damage numbers, because if it did, they'd probably look like this. They're so glitched out that they even go negative, actually. But the usage of this exploit is the reason that he was able to just instantly walk in and kill the final boss.
I don't see anything wrong with this. Nobody in speedrunning would ever see anything wrong with using an exploit. I mean, there are different versions of speedrunning, but this is perfectly legal within speedrunning. Take advantage of exploits, right?
While achieving a world record sub 2-minute time. However, it gets better, because remember that this leaderboard isn't official. The way that people get themselves ranked on this board is to take a screenshot of their time or do a recording of their run and submit the evidence to the website moderators, which right now, as I make this video, has only been done roughly 1,600 times ever for at least the category that he's doing. There are 9 submissions pending at the moment, but back when Elon was talking about this stuff, back when he was doing it as the #1 player in the world, there were only 800 submissions. If you really think about what that means, the picture sort of necessarily changes, doesn't it? Elon Musk wasn't #1 in the world.
So does Blizzard ban exploiters? I don't know that they do with Diablo in particular. I guess there's PvP in Diablo 4 now, right? I didn't like Diablo 4 that much, so I didn't play too much end game of it. I mean, I have my character, but I haven't even bought the expansion. But I think that's only would be like an exploiter in something that has an economy in it, like World of Warcraft, right?
Clarify, he was the fastest submitted time to this website, where only 800 clips had even been submitted ever at all. And he was the fastest of this maximum 800 people by using a completely broken damage exploit, which let him outperform the competition for a very, very short window of time, after which he no longer submitted anything again. Elon Musk was not, just to reiterate, he was not, period, N, period, O, period, T, period, the #1 player, Diablo player in the world. He was the fastest of a minuscule self-reporting sample size for a non-official leaderboard speedrun.
So this is exactly like what he did with Quake, which is he embellished it, but what he actually did do. And I just, honestly, I think we've all done it, and I don't think it's that big of a deal. At least he did it himself. I mean,
running one type of dungeon.
I don't have a problem with it. I mean, it is what it is. It's not the end of the world.
Not even a fraction of 1% of the game's player base even competes. That's it. Let me just hammer this point home, because I think some people are probably going to miss the point, and I don't think that they should miss the point. So let's say I play League of Legends or Counter-Strike or any sort of round-based game, Marvel Rivals, any sort of round-based game. And I go to a third-party website where there's a maximum world record kill count per game kind of leaderboard, right? Some people have 30 kills, 40 kills, 50 kills per game, right? Really impressive stuff, but, you know, some people have 20, some people have 10. And I get an 86 kill game in, I don't know, in League of Legends. I get 86 kills in League of Legends, which is crazy. And I go and I put that out there, and I'm #1 on this website, right? This leaderboard website, I'm #1, I'm the best in the world, but only like 500 people have ever even submitted a score to that website. It blows my mind that anyone takes this man seriously. You cannot go and then say, I cannot ever say, I am #1 in the world at League of Legends in kill count, because I got this crazy high kill count, and only 500 or 1,000 or 2,000 people in the entire community of League of Legends have ever even submitted a score to that same leaderboard, right? You're competing.
I don't know. Let me think about this for a second. So there's user submission scores for overclocking, right? And at one point I had the highest score for the Radeon R9 Nano, and I submitted it, and I was top of the leaderboard, and I thought that was really cool. So I could say, like, I'm one of the best overclockers in the world. I could say that. I didn't say that. I would actually give the actual statistic. But here's the thing. If you aren't even within the range of competition for that, like let's say you're getting 10 kills and you see the leaderboard, you're not going to submit if you're not even close, right?
Competing against no one. You're not competing, like you're not even on the same wavelength as the best players. You don't exist to them because they're.
Well, I think you missed the point though, Gandalf. Like we were talking about earlier, like the entire point of this is, well, you know, is this indicative of, you know, character that is being used in other aspects of his life, right? I think is what that's. I'm saying that's the argument that people have surrounding this, and I think that that's a valid argument. Now, am I saying I care that much? No, that's even what I've said here most recently, because like I said, I think that I've been an offender of this at the end of the day. And as far as why don't you care about the gaming stuff? I mean, or why would you care about the gaming stuff? Gaming is awesome, and it's a respected pastime that people participate in. And if you are going to take, you know, that leaderboard spot away from somebody else that's been actually doing the work and grinding out the work on Path of Exile 2, and you take one of those spots from them because you're essentially, you know, account sharing, and that takes away that takes away somebody else's spot, and that in particular I don't think is okay, you know.
They're not competing on that one tiny little minuscule website where you happen to submit something. To make things worse, the Diablo 4 community had allegations of him
Right, Gondok says it's like any sports, only official records count. Yeah, and people, if they're not going to be participating in it, it probably means that they don't think they're good enough, and probably because they aren't good enough to even submit any of those scores, right? So I'm gonna say, like,
his progress and
to me it sounds like the Diablo 4 and the Quake accolades are embellished, but still at a base true, right?
Here with unsanctioned methods and third-party stuff due to how quickly he had some of the best items in the entire game. But none of those allegations came with credible proof, and he really did seem to know what he was doing, at least from a very, very basic point of view. So for a short span of time, a lot of people in the video game community genuinely believed that Elon Musk was a world-class gamer. Unfortunately for him, all of that would come crashing down when he tried to pass himself
I think that also kind of, here's the thing that's crazy to me, that also kind of proves that you're a world-class gamer, or at least you game a lot. Or, not that, sorry. Here's what I think was funny. Let me go back. His statement was wanting to complete, or basically extremely hard difficulties at the top tier, doing the top performance, and that helps you see past the matrix. And if you are using an exploit, that's kind of exactly what you're doing. You're seeing past the matrix. And so that's kind of funny.
Off as a top 10 hardcore Path of Exile 2 player and just completely destroyed his own.
Now this is the one that has the Gandalf, like the relevance of this, like what I was talking about earlier. It's the Path of Exile 2 stuff that isn't okay.
This is where I have to reference another creator because they were the ones that sparked the whole thing off
Quinn!
with a very detailed analysis. And that person is Quinn69. There's a detailed video on his channel linked down below.
That's crazy that Quinn only has 64,000 subscribers on YouTube. That dude is massive on Twitch. That's crazy.
Which really just showcases how Elon Musk, in at least some of his gameplay, was openly using an account that he did not and could never have leveled himself. However, the sheer hubris of how he acted and what he decided to do goes quite a bit beyond the single performance, so I'm just going to list off some of the things that happened here, which turned him into a complete joke of a person. First, while displaying absolutely zero spatial awareness and boss mechanical knowledge, he had supposedly farmed 9 citadels in less than the first 2 weeks of the game being live. A lot of people watching this probably don't know what that means, but to put it very simply, it did not happen. He's full of shit. Next, he not only had 1, but 2 different top 100
there's no
characters
defending
on the
the PoE
hardcore
too.
ladder. One of them at rank 59 called Kekius Maximus, which was level 94. And then the other at rank 7 called Perseverance. And Quinn's video has way more detail about why. But when demonstrating himself playing these characters, it was literally like watching a kid with next to zero game knowledge, misusing, misclicking, and misunderstanding fundamental and very basic in-game mechanics that no player ever, with the ability to legitimately get a character to rank 7 globally, and this is a real leaderboard, not a joke garbage leaderboard that doesn't mean anything like the Diablo stuff. This is a real one that actually ranks everybody. No person that legitimately can do anything at that level would ever be screwing up like him and acting like him ever. Want more? Okay. He logged in and was testing a stream with Starlink while fighting the Arbiter, which is a pinnacle endgame content boss. And when that character died, it was revealed that the name was Monk E Business, which was a character from the Hong Kong region primarily, where the trade messages allegedly defaulted to Mandarin characters. And with his most recent top 10 account, the account was online and grinding content actively while Elon was having a live broadcast with Alice Waddell, who is a co-chair of the...
My argument with this is I was gonna, or not my argument, my funny thought surrounding this, like when all this is coming out, was like, what if he has Neuralink already plugged in and he's like actively jacked in directly into Path of Exile 2 and simultaneously playing while having a live stream? That would have been epic.
AfD, which is a right-wing populist political party in Germany. Elon was mousing over gear that he was wearing on his character, saying things like, it's low level and not the best, or due for an upgrade, when the gear that he was showing is so good, you can't even buy it on like the entire player trading marketplace. Items as good as the ones that he was wearing almost don't even exist. And yet he was talking about how they maybe weren't the best, which just, frankly, it's impossible for someone who legitimately understands the game at even a mediocre level to be saying the things that he was saying. Elon Musk went from pretending to be one of the best players in the world at Quake, when he simply wasn't, to showcasing his own Elden Ring build, which got him universally laughed at. And then suddenly, he's a rank 1 Diablo player with a sample size of 800 people, using a short-lived infinite damage...
How much of this do you think, guys, is like, you ever know those people that are, like, let's say, really good at one thing, but they have no self-awareness of how bad they are at everything else? Like, I'll even say I've been blinded by this in the past, right? Like, I'm really good at A or B thing, but I have limited knowledge in C thing, but I might think that I have more knowledge in C thing because of how successful I've been in A and B, right? And I think like that it's just a lack of self-awareness surrounding that. Basically I was thinking about this with specifically the Elden Ring build, where he kind of responded like trying to teach people how to play, like he knew how to, when he didn't really necessarily know the best thing to do there, but just lacking the self-awareness of how, viable that particular build was, right?
Exploit, and pretending to be top 10 in the world for a high-profile game like Path of Exile, hardcore, in such a pathetically inauthentic and unbelievable way that the entire community just openly and immediately sees what's really happening and laughs at him. Capping the whole thing off, as if it could possibly get any worse. After being called out by practically everyone, more specifically though Asmongold, who did a video about the whole situation, Elon just lost it. He started bragging about how he's played with the world's best players, even leaking private messages with Asmongold as some sort of counterattack, after openly stating that Asmongold.
Oh yeah, 100%. When you're younger, 100% used to overestimate my skills in different areas. For sure. I still do it to this day, to be honest.
Posts it to the YouTube channel, and took that to
It'll be
mean
like,
that
I
the
think I
video
know what's
editor,
wrong with
who
something,
was
and
an
then I find out I
employee
was.
of Asmongold, is somehow his
I find out I don't know how to fix it. Right.
It's hard to express at this point just how stupid this man has.
The difference
himself.
is now when I do it, I go, oh crap, I need to go learn, and I actually open up the training manual and start learning how to do it. That's the difference.
To be, not only is he insecure in his own video game accomplishments to a point he will violate the terms of service for high-profile titles to falsify said accomplishments. Grinding Gear Games legitimately needs to ban him, by the way. What he's doing is very clearly against their terms. But not only that, he lies about his own status and then fundamentally misunderstands the most basic.
It would be a terrible PR move for Grinding Gear Games to ban him. That's my thought. I think that's a bad move. I think that's bad advice. Look, he's the richest man in the world. You let him do whatever the fuck he wants to do. What's up, Max? Welcome to the stream.
Child-level concepts, right down to the idea that the person criticizing him is being governed by a video editor. He even went and temporarily took away the verification checkmark on Asmon.
Yeah, all that pettiness with the way he treated Asmon was pretty terrible. I mean, that is true. It was pretty bad. I don't think that that was really excusable in any form or fashion, especially coming from someone that is a proponent of free speech.
Gold's Twitter account, like a temper-driven toddler. And when I look at everything in context, I think owning Twitter literally broke his brain. Having that many millions of people constantly sucking up to you for ad revenue all day, every day on social media, and then going full terminal online mode like he had.
It's weird. You say that Upper Echelon here is a Musk hater. I've known, here's what I think it is, at least my personal opinion, is that I think, judging by previous Upper Echelon videos, because I've watched a lot of Upper Echelon, he is typically pretty based and in favor of Elon Musk. And I think that he has those conflicting feelings of something that he is passionate about, with proof that Musk was not being ethical beyond a shadow of a doubt surrounding it, and basically doing things that are against terms of service for Grinding Gear Games and so on. I think when that happens and that wall, that facade is broken at first, if you're going to go jump online without thinking about it and calming down, and make a video, you're going to probably feel a little bit more, upset about the entire situation. So what I'm saying is that your perception outside of from this one video, if you're not familiar with Upper Echelon's previous content, would be correct, but it in fact historically is not correct. And the reason I think that he's so passionately against this and upset with it is because it hits home for him as he's a very large video game content creator, and also an extremely based individual that I think has also been extremely kind of friendly towards the Musk and all of that in the past. So I think that's where some of this comes from.
As somehow fused.
What's up, Hawk?
Welcome
Welcome
to
to the stream.
Which turned him erratic, insecure, and just I don't know, completely out of touch. It's sad. In the end, the world's richest man is also a serial fabricator of accomplishments for multiple of gaming's most notorious titles, while he lashes out and doubles down, refusing to acknowledge that paying someone...
I think he did acknowledge that he was paying someone else, by the way. If you guys aren't aware already, I think it was yesterday or the day before, an interview came out where he did admit to it. I don't know what the timeline on this particular video is. Let's see. It was posted 3 days ago. I want to say like 2 days ago. I want to say it was about 2 days ago. Asmon posted the update of him admitting it, right? So, let's see. Yeah, it was this one right here. So 2 days ago. So Upper Echelon came out with this video before more information was released from the situation, so we can give him a pass on that. He didn't know yet, but he did admit. Musk has admitted to this already.
Else
Account
to do
sharing,
things for
that is.
you does not actually award you those achievements. He obviously thinks it does, but I think at this point Elon Musk has comfortably earned himself the title of the biggest and most hilariously out of touch fraud in gaming history. That's it. If you support the channel,
I feel like there's more larger frauds in gaming history, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. If you can think of some in chat, throw them in there. But I think that's a sensationalized statement. I mean, obviously, like I said, I think that he's just more upset about it than maybe is warranted. Once again, wrapping up, I guess, totally as far as my position on this is the Path of Exile leaderboard account sharing is inexcusable. It's against terms of service for Path of Exile. It takes the spot of somebody else that's working hard at trying to be good at a video game because it takes a spot up on that leaderboard. And that actual action is incorrect. However, he did admit to doing it. So there's at least that, right? And then as far as the Quake thing, that is an embellishment. He did play. There is proof that he did play Quake. He did apparently get second in some tournament, but not second in like the world tournaments, right? So there's that. As far as that's concerned, I've told embellished stories, like I said, with the motocross story previously. So I'm not one to judge. I can't cast stones. You know what I mean? As far as that's concerned. And I kind of expect a little bit of an embellishment from anybody I meet in real life, right? So that is kind of how I feel about it. And all right, Hawk, have a good stream. I'll see you in a little while. And then finally, just wrapping up, if we talk about the Elden Ring, I think that was just a case of, like I said, a lack of self-awareness of how good or bad his build actually was. And then the last one was, what was it? No, those were the three, right? Was there any other ones? Oh, Diablo 4. Diablo 4 was true. In my opinion, and just embellished once again, just like the Quake was.
channel, check out the links down below, a special VPN deal.
If you guys want to go throw Upper Echelon a like on this video, go ahead and do it. You can even share it out if you want somebody to kind of get the lowdown on what's going on with this particular situation. I know it's been a hot topic, so getting an update's cool. I learned more things out of the Upper Echelon video than I have keeping track of it from Asmon's perspective, so that was good. Thanks for sharing it. I hope you enjoyed this clip from the Crypto Mining Show. If you would like to see more from this particular episode, take a look up here. Don't forget to also subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support me directly, you can go to sonofatech.locals.com and become a member. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next Tuesday.